welcome or welcome back. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Sarah Jane and I make a lot of content on living in DC, life in my 30s, reading. So if that content interests you, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe because it really helps support my channel. So today I'm going to be filming my March reset. I have not filmed in what feels like forever. It's been about 3 weeks. Just life got busy and sometimes that happens, but I am so excited for March. I am so ready for spring, for longer days, for warmer weather, for little peeps of flowers from tulips. So I'm just so ready and I wanted to start the month on a good note by making a reset video. So I'm filming at my vanity today because even though I am manifesting spring weather, it's actually really drizzling hard outside and every other lighting in my home was very dark. So I'm actually going to film this in a different way than how I did resets in 2023 because I haven't really done too many resets this year so far. I've just kind of been like living my life, but it's time to get organized. So the way I want to set up this March reset is first kind of brain dump everything that happened in February, just talk about it, reflect. I think it's always important to reflect about the good and the bad and then kind of like your main takeaways and how you want to move forward. Then I want to talk about my March goals and the things that I have planned for March, and then I want to end it with some of my monthly favorites. So brain dumping February. I'm looking at my iPad that I kind of like wrote a lot last night about everything that happened in February and kind of like what I wanted to get from it. First I want to touch on like my favorite memories. I actually have 3 favorite memories from March. First is that I went to my first Georgetown gala. I finished my master's degree at Georgetown in December, but I'm sort of in this lull period because they only have one commencement ceremony a year, so it's in May, so I'm just kind of like waiting until then. But I went to the gala with some of my friends and it was like a really good time. It was so fun to get like dressed up and hang out and like see my old classmates again because I haven't seen them since December, so I really enjoyed that night. My second favorite memory is that this is me and my husband's first Valentine's Day married. Valentine's Day, we normally don't really do anything big for it. My husband's love language is acts of service, so he normally cooks me like an elaborate meal at home and we like spend time together with wine and food, with like candlelight and usually a fire, and it's really nice and I really enjoy that. And it was really nice to kind of continue that into this year now that we're getting, now that we're married. We're almost at our 1-year anniversary, which is crazy to think about, but I really enjoyed that. And then my last favorite memory was starting my private ice skating lessons. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, which if you don't, I totally recommend that you do because I definitely update more there than I do here. I started group ice skating lessons back at the beginning of winter. I can't remember if it was December or January. I think it was January. And I really struggled with group lessons because I felt like I was so much more advanced than some of the people in my class, and I felt like I was kind of getting held back. Like there were things that were more advanced that I wanted to do, and I couldn't do because you have to stay within the parameters of how the group lessons are set up. So I ended up talking to a friend who encouraged me, because she's also into ice skating, that I should probably look into private lessons. So I talked to my group lessons coach and I was just like, hey, like, I feel like the pace of my ice skating group lessons does not align with the personal goals and what I want to get out of the sport, because ultimately I want to be able to do like spins eventually. But if you look at the way group lessons are structured, it would take me about 24 weeks to get to that point. And honestly, I'm not getting any younger. I'm in my 30s. Like I'm not trying to spend like half a year learning how to do some of the basics if I already know how to do some of the basics. Luckily my coach was very open to it and she took me on as a private student, so I was really excited. I had my first private ice skating lesson and it was so fun, and I feel like I already have learned so much within that short lesson than I have in like 7 weeks of my group lesson. So very excited about that, and I love that. And I love that I'm kind of just doing something for myself. Like I feel as though the last couple years of my life I was always doing stuff for other people, and I do these little things for myself, but ice skating is like a commitment to myself of something that I have wanted to do ever since I was like 10 years old. When I was a kid, I wanted to take up ice skating lessons. I lived in South Carolina. The rink was just too far from where we lived to be able to consistently maintain that discipline, so I never really got to do it. And now that I'm older and the rink is like 10 minutes from my house, it's just so nice to be able to kind of like relive that thing that I've always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. Now I want to talk about new habits that I want to have in March. First and foremost, I have like really struggled with figuring out like a workout schedule that works for me and like my routine. But I think I'm like narrowing it down into something that kind of works for me, which makes me really excited because I'm a hybrid employee. So going into the office, on those days I feel really drained, and so I've just been slowly figuring out stuff, and it makes me really excited. So that's a new habit that I want to just like really nail down in the month of March. What workout routine like works for me? Number 2, and this is something that I will talk about in a later video, is that I want to get back into writing. So if you guys have been on my channel for a minute, you know that I was working on a book, and then I entered capstone for my final semester at Georgetown, and it was so challenging. I had no extra time on my hands, and writing was one of the things that fell to the wayside. So now that I'm kind of like, you know, we're through the holidays, I've had some time to kind of like rejuvenate, I want to make it a priority to get back into a writing habit because I really enjoyed that goal that I was working on, and I'm gonna go way more into this in another video, so definitely stay tuned if that's something you're interested in, but that is a habit that I want to get back into. With that being said, I want to talk about old habits that I want to leave behind in March, because like I said, it wasn't like a very good month for me. It's honestly one big one, and it's something that I did not realize, and that is ignoring how I'm feeling. I started therapy in February, and this is something I'm going to talk about here again in just a second, but by starting that and like talking about things that have been weighing on me, I realized that I am actually a much more sensitive person than I realized. I never really realized that about myself. I guess I kind of just like, you know, played it off, but I actually am a very sensitive person. So in knowing that, like coming to terms with how I'm feeling, accepting how I'm feeling, and working through those feelings, so I am true to myself, and that is a habit that we're leaving that behind in February, and we are embracing it in March. And that's all I kind of really want to say about that. Next up, what I want to get out of March, I am so excited for spring, for warmer weather, for feeling better, and writing. Those, like, if I had to bucket 4 things that I really want to get out of March, those would be the 4 things: warmer weather, spring, and light, and feeling better, and writing. Those are the things. Those are the 4 things we're manifesting in March. And last but certainly not least, in terms of my brain dump from February, is what I'm proud of. I already mentioned this earlier, but first and foremost, starting therapy. I saw a therapist back when I lived in New York, if you guys have been around my channel that long, and I didn't really have the best experience with that therapist. She was a very nice lady. I just think that she was trying to be like a famous therapist, and I didn't really feel like my needs were met. So because of that, I did not seek therapy again for a very long time. But now I'm getting back into it, and I'm really proud of myself for doing it. And if it's something that you're thinking about, I highly recommend it. It has just been really great for me and my mental health. And the last thing that I'm really proud of from February is upgrading most of my devices. Now, I am the kind of person who, once I get something, I will run it to the ground. I will take care of it, and I will use it until I can't use it anymore. So I upgraded 3 devices. First was my iPhone. I had the iPhone 12, and I've had it a couple years, and it worked fine, but the battery just didn't last anymore. And so I finally upgraded to the 15 Pro Max, which has been fabulous, and I'm so happy with that phone. Like, it lasts me 2 days. It's amazing. So I'm really glad about that. I upgraded my Apple Watch, which I had my original Apple Watch for 9 years, and I honestly would have still just kept using it if it held a charge, but it didn't hold a charge anymore. I had to charge it like twice a day to keep it up, and as someone who I like to use it for my step counts, that wasn't gonna work for me. And then I also really liked that now you can track your sleep, so I upgraded that, and it makes me very happy because now I'm like monitoring my sleep and making sure I'm getting enough sleep. So I upgraded that. And then the last thing I got, but certainly not least, is my new iPad. So I got the this is the iPad 11. This is the iPad Pro 11 inch. and this is like what she looks like. I got this cute cover, and then I got this like the Apple Pencil Gen 2. I mostly got this because I've been wanting an iPad for a while to do some like video editing stuff for YouTube, but I didn't want to like spend the money on it. I couldn't rationalize it, but I was able to get like a really good bundle deal since I got 3 devices. And I'm really happy with it so far. I've been using it as a digital planner. I've been using it to read on the Libby app. I've been using it to watch YouTube. Like, I've been using it for so many things, and I love it. And I got the iPad Pro because I found out that if I use Final Cut to edit, and if you want to use Final Cut, you have to have like a certain generation of the iPad Air or the Pro. So I decided to go with the Pro. So anyways, I'm really proud of myself for upgrading my devices because it's something that I would not do normally on my own. It takes a lot of effort for me to like give up the thing that I've been using and like upgrade. So anywho, so that is my February dump. And now I actually want to go into my March goals. And so I've also split this up in a different way because normally I split this up by health and wellness, personal and professional, and personal finances. But I think I want to like delve a little bit deeper into those 3 categories. So first up is my health. For my health, I have 3 goals. One is I want to get into a good workout routine, which we've already talked about, figuring out what works out for me, and just like sticking to that routine. 2 is to track my sleep and making sure that I get at least 7 hours of sleep. I noticed last week I was only getting 6 hours of sleep for multiple nights, and so I want to get better about that. And this is also like a very new habit for me, so I'm very excited to like delve into like my sleep and like what makes me feel better. And then last up is to go ice skating 2 times a week. And I count my lessons as one of those times because I go beforehand to practice before I actually enter into my lesson. So kind of keeping up that habit. Honestly, that wasn't really hard in the winter because there were so many outdoor rinks that I could go to. Now that those outdoor rinks in DC have closed, I can only go to indoor rinks, which is really 2 indoor rinks around me. But I was going with a friend who ice skated as well. So now, and she got injured. So now that she's injured, I'm worried it might be hard for me to maintain that sort of consistency because I'm going ice skating alone. So I'm kind of like figuring that out, but I want to maintain, like if I'm investing this money in private ice skating lessons, like I want to make sure that I maintain like the hobby. So those are my health goals. Next is social media. I want to get back into uploading twice a week, and I am really hoping that now that I have an iPad that it's going to help me. And the reason I say that is because I really have a hard time uploading videos right now because my MacBook is so old, and I am currently like I have a sinking fund set up for saving for a new MacBook. It's going to be a really good one, and I'm patiently saving for that. But in the meantime, it is very hard to edit on my computer at the moment. So that was one of the reasons I got the iPad Pro. Since I got it at such a discounted rate, I can get Final Cut Pro on here, and I'm hoping I can edit at least for a little bit. So we will see. Like if it doesn't happen, that's okay, but I'm really hoping that like I'm setting myself up for success by doing that. So next up is finance. So for finance, I really want to start getting better about buying things for myself. When I budget, I set aside money for all these other things, which are great. So stuff for the house, stuff for the car, stuff in like savings, so many savings account. But I'm really bad about like making sure that I buy things for myself. So I want to get better about that. So like I have a trip coming up to Europe next month, and there's just a couple outfits that I want to get, and I want to make sure that I make that a priority to do before we leave for the trip. My next goal is my relationships, and I have 2 goals for this. So my first one is I don't know if I've actually talked about this in a video yet, but there's this girl I follow on TikTok, and she specializes in relationships, specifically female relationships and like platonic friendships. And before COVID, people on average socialized 6 hours a week, and since COVID, that number has really decreased. And I have found that if I make a goal to make sure I hit a certain amount of socialization in a week, it really helps project me into doing it, because I am someone that I can just sit at home and be so happy and so content. But I do want to make sure I'm investing in my friendships and my relationships, and I have found that setting a goal does that. And so I set a goal in February to aim for 6 hours a week. I actually set this in January, and this has really helped me a lot to make sure that I'm like being social, keeping up with my friendships, and it doesn't feel like work, because it's almost like, you know, I'm just like looking at it and I'm like, oh yeah, like I hit 10 hours of socialization this week, like I'm good or whatever. And I feel like that might, like, some people might think that's really weird, but my head thinks with data, because like I do a lot of things with data. So to me, this is like another data point and another tracker. So it's really good for me. It makes me feel like I don't have to put so much effort and thought into socializing. It just kind of like happens now, which might sound counterintuitive, but it just is. So anywho, that is one goal. And the other goal is celebrate me and my husband's anniversary. We are going to be hitting our 1-year anniversary in March, which is crazy. I cannot believe we've been married a year. I feel like it flew by so fast. So I'm very excited. We're gonna go to the little bed and breakfast that we stayed in the night we got married, and we're just gonna kind of like rewalk the streets, like have a little like time away from life and like enjoying each other's company, and I'm really excited about it. All right, last monthly goal has to do with home, and that is to install this chandelier that I've been wanting. So I have these like little home projects around the house. They're nothing too crazy. Ever since I bought this condo, I have hated the chandelier that hangs here. Like, it is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. So, but I've never like changed it out. And so I finally found a chandelier I like. I also found a ceiling medallion that I really like. I have enough funds for the materials, but not necessarily the labor, because my husband doesn't feel comfortable changing out the chandelier, since like there's gonna be multiple things happening at the same time between the medallion and the chandelier and taking down the old one. So I am just gonna hire a contractor, and I've already got an estimate of that cost, but I'm just saving up for it so I can pay everything in cash. And I'm hoping to have enough funds by the end of the month to be able to get that at least ordered, if not installed. So that's my home goal for this month, is like getting that chandelier gone, because I freaking hate that thing. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys. If I will like will insert a picture. It's just so ugly. It's very industrial. Like if you're into the industrial style, it's really nice, but like that's not my style. I'm very like traditional, like English charm kind of vibe. Like this does not work for me. So those are my March goals, and I think they're all very doable, all very obtainable, and I'm really, really excited for March. I'm just so ready for daylight savings and to have like longer days and just like get warmer weather. I need warmer weather, guys. My seasonal depression this year has been like so strong. So last up in this video is going to be monthly favorites. So I have 4. I'm going to talk about movies, shows, books, and product. So my favorite movie this year, or this month, was Argyle. So Argyle, I went to go see Argyle for a couple reasons. 1, Henry Cavill's in it, and I love Henry Cavill. He is so handsome. And then 2, it's about an author. So the protagonist is an author, and she writes these books that then predict how things are gonna go in real life in terms of like espionage. So it's super interesting. So she has a series she writes, and she gets kidnapped by these spies because they're like, well, we need to know what's gonna happen in this next upcoming conflict. And Henry Cavill is essentially like someone who kind of like, Henry Cavill is her character in the book, but he like continues to come up throughout her subconscious. So it's super interesting. But and she has like this cat that comes with her, which I think is adorable. The cat's in the backpack. I really enjoyed the movie. Some people on Rotten Tomatoes didn't really like it because it's made by the same guy who makes the Kingsman movies, so it's a very like dramatic action movie. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was so good. And then I found out that they actually do have a book, so I have that on hold on my Libby app because I do really, really want to read it. My favorite show this month is Love is Blind. So I've had such a roller coaster with Love is Blind because when the show first came out, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was so good. And then the last couple seasons have been like, especially last season, like when no one made it, like really nobody made it to the altar, if I remember correctly. I was like, okay, obviously Love is not blind. I really enjoy, I feel like Nick and Vanessa Lachey have taken the criticism they've been given online, and I feel like they've really tried to like make it better this season. We have a lot more couples that we're following. We're getting a lot more backstory, a lot more drama, a lot more time in the pod, so that like we're getting invested into these couples. And I have just been like shook with all the drama. There's so much drama. I could talk about Love is Blind forever. But so I think the altar episode is next on Wednesday, and then the following episode is the reunion. I don't really want to talk about the show and like my thoughts because I don't want to give any spoilers if you're catching up to that point, but just know I love this season. It is so good. My favorite book for the month of February was Britney Spears' The Woman in Me. So this was my book club pick of the month, and I was really excited to read it because I did want to read it. And so this gave me a really good excuse to read it. This is essentially Britney Spears' memoir. It like goes into kind of like from childhood all the way up to where she is now, and kind of gives you like an inside peek into the conservatorship and kind of like, you know, why she shaved her head back in the day, and like her intense relationship with Justin Timberlake that I did not realize was as strong as it was. And I thought this was fabulous. Like it's by no means like literature, but it's really good if you are a Britney Spears fan and you just really want to know like what the heck is going on. I had a couple of favorite quotes, so I think I'm just going to share one or two really quick. So this one I thought was really good. I feel like a lot of women, so this quote is pertaining to her time with Kevin Federline and how no one really understood like why they were together, and she kind of summarized it like this: I feel like a lot of women, and this is definitely true of me, can be as strong as they want, can play this powerful role, but at the end of the day, after we've done our work and made our money and taken care of everyone else, we want someone to hold us tight and tell us everything's going to be okay. I'm sorry, I know it sounds regressive, but I think it's a human impulse. We want to feel safe and alive and sexy all at the same time, and that's what Kevin did for me. And I really love that because I understand like it does sound regressive, but it's so true as someone who is like, as someone who is a working woman, a boss, like, and I don't mean like, you know, a boss, like, I mean, I genuinely have a team that works for me and who makes money, right? And like, I'm in the world working. Like, I feel like that is so true because I love my husband and he is so wonderful in so many things, but my favorite thing about him is that I can come home at night and like he can just hold me and everything is okay in the world, and I feel so protected. And so when she wrote that, I was like, girl, I get it. I totally get it. Like, I know why no one else understood why you were with him, but now I get it because I understand. So anywho, that was my favorite quote. That was my favorite book. If you're thinking about picking it up, I recommend it. I thought it was super enlightening into like what happened behind the scenes with her. And I honestly feel like really bad for her now that it's all like said and done, because I just feel like she's just been so in prison for so long. And last but certainly not least is my favorite product. So I have it right here. It is the Salt and Stone Santal and Vetiver. So I talked about this briefly in another video, how I was trying out the Salt and Stone product, and I really like it. I used to use Bath & Body Works body wash back in the day, and I really just like wanted to elevate my shower routine. I don't remember where, so I think it was on TikTok. I saw the Salt and Stone and I really liked it. So, well, I really wanted to try. I really like it. The original scent I got back in October was Black Rose and Oud, which is their newest scent. Not really like a big fan of that. It is a good product for that time of year because it's very smoky and musky and perfect for like October time period. But this I really like for like right now where it's spring. They have one more scent. I think it's called like hibiscus and bergamot or something like that. I do want to try that next just to see like of the scents that are available which one's my favorite. But so far I'm really enjoying this, and I do plan on buying the lotion actually because I'm almost out of my previous lotion that I've been using. And it just makes showering really enjoyable. So anyways, that is all of my monthly favorites. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I feel like it was a really long reset. I understand that, but I just wanted to talk to you guys. I know it's been a minute and I just wanted to catch up on everything from February, everything I want to get into March, and like all of my favorites. And I thought about putting my like reading wrap up in this video, but I think it would make this video entirely too long. So that video is going to come out in the upcoming weeks of like everything that I read in February and my thoughts. I read 7 books total, just so you guys know what's coming up. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe because it really does help support my channel. And I will see you guys in another one. Bye.